Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you from ABP Education Admission Fair. Today we are delighted to have all of you on board for our webinar on New Education Landscape Odisha. I would like to begin with a brief introduction about ABP Education and our Admission Fair webinar. Before we proceed with the session, ABP Education is an educational portal which offers a complete solution to students transitioning from campus to career, is their go-to for information on colleges, courses, examinations, results, admissions, scholarships, foreign education, career options, and expert advice and tips on student life. ABP Education has organized a virtual admission fair which opened on the 15th of July 2021 and has brought together several renowned institutes from across India under one roof. Students now can join the virtual fair from the safety of their homes and get a chance to interact with pan-Indian institutes virtually and download brochures and forms and choose their best fit colleges. Students have also been attending a series of industry specific webinars where academic experts and seasoned industry veterans have been providing valuable insights. We are all gathered here today for an exclusive webinar on the new educational landscape of Odisha. This exclusive session would be moderated by Professor Ujjwal K. Chowdhury. Professor Chowdhury is a maverick who travels between media academics and media practice, between professional and social activism, between traveling and staying put. He has been till July 2021 the pro-vice-chancellor of Kolkata-based Adamas University, and he had been earlier the dean of symbiosis and Amity Universities, apart from Pearl Academy and Whistlingwood Internationals. He was he had been a wanderer working as a media consultant in Nepal, consulting with Amsterdam Film School in Netherlands, working on films for WHO in several nations, and working with Accor Media in Dubai. He speaks with he speaks and writes on various platforms and works in civil society initiatives on media, youth, entrepreneurship, and democracy. Professor Chaudhary, we are really delighted to have you on board. And now I will leave it to you to take the discussion forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shivangi. Interestingly, this very platform symbolizes the opportunities of these trying times. abpeducation.com was born in April 2020, and in the real sense, a COVID baby, because COVID struck India around January, and by March, we went into lockdown, which has not yet, for education, has not yet opened up in the real sense. So, a business, a platform, a network, a bonding that started completely in the backdrop of COVID today has brought so many people together. I am here with Professor Sasmita Samanta, with whom I have shared 4 times platforms, but we haven't met. But still, we know each other and we talk. I have talked to Supriya ji earlier, and first time in a panel I am meeting her. I'm meeting Dr. Pritam Pal also first time. I'll be on the panel, and I'm also meeting Minister Samir Ranjan Dash will be joining us also for the first time. In the same way, in the 442 webinars that I have addressed, either as a panelist or a moderator or a key speaker, I have met a few thousand people now. And this is completely a COVID impact. I must tell that we have gone into a different paradigm. For many people, this paradigm is painful. Many people worldwide, World Bank says something around 43 crores, 430 million people have lost jobs. The IFC, International Finance Corporation, says 4.6% of the world economy has contracted. That means $80 trillion economy is now around $76 trillion economy, roughly 76 point something. To understand that, the entire South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka together, Bhutan together, is around $4 trillion. That is the amount of revenue that the world has lost in the last COVID period, in this last 16 months, 15, 16 months. So it is undoubtedly a trying time. And on the other hand, it is also an ennobling time, a time that makes us alert, aware of certain aspects of life which perhaps we gave little less importance in the hurly-burly of earlier life. We are more conscious about our health today and hygiene. We are more conscious about the value of friendship and relationship when we are distanced. We are more conscious about the value of education I cannot believe the students who never wanted to study are dying to come back to campuses now. They keep on WhatsApping, sir, ma'am, we want to come back, from primary schools to universities. This is the reality at this point of time. We have understood the yeoman service of the healthcare workers, not just the top doctors or the owners of hospitals, but the nurses and the sanitation workers with the lowest level of healthcare workers who have been doing fabulous work during this time. We have opened, as the doctors were saving the world, we, the mentors or teachers, were shaping the world. We have opened our bedrooms, we have opened our drawing rooms due to the camera coming into the home during our classes. Many people cannot afford more than two-room homes as well. So there has been a paradigm shift as a whole. And this paradigm shift affected education, much more than many other sectors. The UNESCO in 2020, December, that is last year, December, they said that 283 million children in India, out of whom only 48% are in digital learning. 52% are without 1 ounce of learning in the last year since the pandemic broke up. And these 48% are different grades or levels, because all are not equally connected. All do not have laptops. Most are connected through the mobile, which is a limited mechanism, as we know. So there is a paradigm shift even in education. We have come to accept education from remote. How has various states of India coped up? Only 3 days ago, I spoke to the stalwarts of education and the Minister of Education of Assam. And today we are meeting the same in context of Odisha. We are very happy that we shall be joined by the Minister of Education, and we have an honorable Vice-Chancellor of one of the large universities in Odisha, Centurion University, headed by Professor Supriya Pattanayak. We have another very well-known university in our part of the country and as a whole in the country, KIIT University, and their sister institute, KISS University as well, led by the legendary Dr. Achyut Samanta, who is very well-known and respected name in our part of the world, across the country, who is also a elected representative of the people. So we have the pro-vice-chancellor of the institute with us, Professor Sasmita Samanta. Then this regional College of Management, which has been there for more than 3 decades, if I am not wrong. So Dr. Pritam Pal, as I say, Dr. Pritam Pal is joining. So he has also, and his organization has contributed immensely to the engineering and management talent of Odisha. Odisha, by the way, before I speak any further, I salute the people of Odisha for contributing the tax money and the leader Naveen Patnaik to support the men and the women's hockey teams to come up from nowhere and become leaders in this part of the world, and one of the top teams of the country, of the world. I mean, the Indian team coming with bronze, the women's team missing bronze by a whisker, by a small, just a little margin, difference. Fabulous task done. When nobody believed in hockey, everyone was putting their money in the coffers of cricket. It was Naveen Patnaik and the people of Odisha and their tax money that has fed, trained, and armed with resources the hockey teams of men and women. I salute, on behalf of the nation, I salute the people of Odisha. Welcome, Dr. Pritam Pal, in the program. I'm Professor Ujjwal Chowdhury, and I shall be moderating this session. Without taking any more time, I move on to the questions of today. 1. How has Odisha's higher education tackled COVID in actual terms in your campuses? How did you quickly turn into e-learning, and how are you moving on to blended learning next? How well prepared are you to open up your campuses whenever the government instructs? In our case in Bengal, the government is looking at post Durga Puja, means 3rd week of October, to open up the campuses physically, though the online classes are going on. So how are you preparing, and what lessons do we learn as a learning community, educational community, for future? These are some of the questions, and we can carry on further. And for answering these questions, we'll have one round and then we'll take questions. So one round, each one I request to speak around 6-7 minutes maybe, and then we can have the second round with more questions. I first call upon Honorable Vice Chancellor, Centurion University, Professor Supriya Pattanayak, to look at this paradigm shift in education that has been happening in the context of Odisha, in the context of Centurion, how have you tackled it? How are you tackling it? What are your plans ahead? And how are you welcoming the blended education, completely a different mode of education that's coming forth? Over to you, Professor Supriya Pattanayak.
Thank you, Dr. Chowdhury. I think it's a wonderful time, first of all, and I would like to thank ABP for having this session. It's a wonderful and timely session to have because it is a very difficult time. COVID has imposed a lot of challenges on universities and other educational institutions. So, and everybody actually was most unprepared for it. So we were kind of literally grappling at the outset. But I think, we know necessity is the mother of all invention. So we very quickly shifted to online mode as soon as the COVID pandemic broke out. And it took us I must say that it wasn't easy because as you very clearly say, that there are people who will always be left out of the system. And considering that we are located in one of the most remote geographies, so we also had a lot of challenges regarding that. But we did kind of quickly shift to online mode, and we actually began delivering the all the programs online mode. What we also did very quickly is have all our courseware online. So what happened is that it made available all the material to all students, irrespective of whether they were able to attend classes or not. They were able to access all material online. I think the most challenging thing for us literally is because we are also one of the first skills university, and we have actually integrated skills into the higher education. We had to actually take stock of what are the skills that we can effectively provide online. And we are actually having about 145 skill courses that we offer. And when we actually tried to take stock, we realized that we could about offer only about 35 courses online, skill courses online. And I think I think it showed us that you can actually deliver skill courses as well online. And I think that was a really wonderful aspect. But it also brought to the fore that how you can effectively use technology to conduct practicals, to conduct some of these skill courses. And I think that was another thing which came to the fore. And we quickly adapted some of those approaches as well. We went to virtual, a lot of 3D animations and things like that, which we could effectively 3D assets that we could use, for example, for our allied health, for our various other engineering and other skill courses. So we started doing that. Of course, again, then the other challenge was, of course, the examinations per se. So we also went not only in the online mode for our internal exams, but also the external exams went on the online mode. And we also had to then have mechanisms whereby we could have proctored examinations. And I think that was a very fascinating experience and experiment, and it continues to be one. It is still very challenging, but you have to keep on building on your experience as you go on. And I think that's what we do. So this was one of the things. I think further beyond this, now, one of the things you are asking is that how are we preparing ourselves for the next phase? And I must tell you that Odisha government has actually allowed students to already come on campus. So they started off with we started off with our allied health programs, because that's one of our flagship programs here in the campus in Bhubaneswar. And they've allowed that to happen. So we have already started getting, and as of I think the 16th or the 19th, they are saying that you get all the other students other than first years. So we will very soon have all the students coming onto campus. And I think, as you rightly pointed out, students are really very, very enthusiastic about coming back on campus. So we are looking forward to having them. We are taking all the precautions that are required for the COVID, as has been provided in the guidelines of government. We are following all of them. So much so, we are in fact even trying to see that we have vaccination drives for our students, for those who have not had them. So we have tried to, explore beyond just the guidelines that have been provided by government. So that is one thing, that in terms of preparedness for COVID per se. We also have, the usual things like sanitization of hostels,
Right.
all those things have happened. No masks, you can't enter anywhere. All those kinds of things have happened. But beyond that, I was saying that this is one of the things. But now the challenge is that once they come on campus, always that threat of the third wave. But notwithstanding that, we will look at how we can actually look at blending now the online education with the uh, physical
Yes. Thank you.
education. So we are already looking at things like that. That there will be still some people, some of our students who will not come on campus, who would still want, because we have international students who are saying that, look, we cannot come on campus. So we know that we would have to also run those kind of programs for them specifically. But we also have taken a decision that going forward, we'll have 20% of our courses online.
Great.
So we are certainly looking at that, but we are looking at also having the students come back on campus. So the whole idea of the hands-on experience, the skills, the practice base, all that comes back into play.
Thank you.
So that they are better prepared for the future.
Thank you, Professor Pattanayak. We will again come back to you for second round. Very well said about the preparedness as well, preparedness for the next level, as well the steps that have been taken in the meantime. We'll talk to you about virtual studios and labs, practicals a little more in this scenario. Engaging productively the learners, that's a big challenge. So how are you engaging productively the learners? And authenticity of exams, how can you maintain? Maybe on those things we'll take further as we come in the second round. We are happy to have Honorable Minister for Schools and Mass Education, Mr. Samir Ranjan Dash, joining us. So I will first request now Honorable Minister to come on video and audio and talk to us about, and as I was telling sir at the very beginning, initiating the discussion, that I, on behalf of the people of my state also, Bengal, we salute your government for reposing faith and spending the taxpayers' money to create the lost glory of hockey in India. The men's and the women's teams have done fabulously well, brought one medal, missed another medal by a whisker. And in this, your government and the people, their faith has been very critical. Thank you. They have created new role models from very ordinary families for the youths of this country. Over to you, Minister Sir, to speak about how you could handle the crisis that has been there in education in the last 15 months. Many people call that there is an educational emergency at this point of time. How have you handled? How are you planning the graded opening up, gradual opening up of the campuses? What new measures have been taken by the government? Any plans ahead? On all this, to throw some light, over to you, Honorable Minister Samir Ranjan Dash.
First, I will welcome to Professor Ujjwal K. Chowdhury, Professor Supriya Pattanayak, Dr. Pritam Pal, and other dignitaries, those are present here.
Yeah, Sasmita ma'am is also there, the pro-vice-chancellor of TT University.
Madam Sasmita Samanta, madam. First, I will welcome to everybody, and I will thanks to Mr. Ujjwal. I will request to join in this program. Really, today I have some work, and we have to thanks to our Honorable CM, because he has declared the multi-purpose indoor stadium in my constituency. So we are in a program to thanks my Honorable CM. So I have asked you not to participate, but when you have requested, so I told you, yes, I will be, because since long you have contacted me, and it is many, many thanks to everybody. You know, this pandemic time was a very crucial time for us. Everybody throughout the world and throughout country, also in our state, it was a very crucial moment and a crucial position. You know, when already we have started the exam program for the class 10 and for class 9. For the last day of class 9 examination, our government, state government, declared to stop all educational institutions. So we closed the exam of class 9. And later on, we have tried a lot for a 10th exam, and in between first layer, and after first layer, before coming to the second layer, we have started a 100 days school program. We have reduced 30% syllabus of the students. But for the 70%, we have started the classroom education in our state, and but it was in vain. We cannot complete the 100 days school education for exam. So ultimately, we have to cancel the 10th class exam, and then only when after for the 9th class exam, and within 100 days, we have made a classroom exam for the students. Within 3 to 4 exams we have conducted. So within this, we have to declare our result. It is in 10th class, also in the class 12. That we have to follow like this. We cannot complete the 100 days exam, 100 days classroom education for the class 12. So we have to, we make it close. And from the metric mark, we compare to declare the examination result as like CBSE, as like ICSE. We know everybody will know the matter was been to Honorable Supreme Court, and Supreme Court also cleared it, and he allowed us all the government and then central government to declare as like CBSE pattern. So in between, it was a very difficult task for us. Now already we are about 16 months. So all the schools are closed. So we have tried a lot for online education. So we have tried online education, but the ground reality is that we have no sufficient scope for online education. So near about we have 56,000 schools. Government-run schools are the number of the schools are the 56,000, and the near about 65 lakh students are reading in the government schools. So, but when we tried it, we reach only by the 30% students. It is near about 22 lakh students. You see, for the when there was before this 10th exam, when in the first layer, that was unlock system. The parents were in the house, so the mobile of the parents were used by the students and their children. When the unlock one was clear, when the first hour is clear, so naturally the parents went for their work, for their job, and therefore day-to-day livelihood position. So at that time, that became the number was come to the 15 lakhs, number was came to the 16 lakhs. So we made our education through YouTube. We made our education through Odisha Shiksha Sanjog. We made our education through Madhua. We made our education by the TV modalities in Doordarshan Odia language, which is applicable to others. We made it by Radio Pathasala. So whatever possible, we did it. But it is unfortunately we did not reach to all the 65 lakh students. Those are in our education system. Nowadays, we have started this time already. We have started the class. We have started the class 10th and the class 12th. Already it is open since 15 days, and we are going to open the schools in class 9 on August 16th. So I can say now the schools are running in well, and that we have asked for the students. Though they are coming to the schools, they have to take the permission of their parents. The parents' clearance is mandatory when we are taking all the schools for class 10 and for class 12. Now that we are looking, I have been to the so many districts in between, and I have been to the so many schools. And what I have learned that near about 70 to 80% students have been turned out to the schools, because the students are waiting for the school education since long. When we have decided, the state government has decided to open the schools, students are very interestingly and eagerly are waiting for this, and the students, they are participated in the schools, and we have mandatory do it. And the school is running from 10:30 to 1:30 p.m. Because there is no recess, there is no, we are not allowed for the lunch program. So after 1:30, we are making the school is closed. And class 9 is going to open on August 16th. And we hope government is taking seriously our SRC, our state government SRC have declared that the other schools, opening of the school is depend to the department, and our department is thinking seriously about all these things. But till today, we are not opening the schools. We have not decided to open the schools. In between, our department has taken so many programs. Logically, we have taken so many programs this time. What is the experience in lockdown period or in COVID-19 situation? This time we have decided to have 4 exams in these sessions. We have decided already, we have given the deadline for the schools to have the examination. It is 4-time examination, and we have decided for e-Mulyankan. We have decided for e-Pathasala, in which we have the digital responsibility of class-wise subject will treated, and the subject-wise content, documents, audio, video, all these things will be taken up. I mean, what I felt would be help in self-running online class, assignment, assessment, and monitoring progress of lessons and progress of the learners. So we have decided this time e-Pathasala. E-Mulyankan, we have decided about the question bank and the self-practice test by teachers, and the mock drills also, and the final examination, tracking of the students of the progress, that we have decided as like. And we have decided for Shiksha Sanjog, a digital learning program through workshop groups. That is continuing also. Though they are not coming schools, it will continue through Shiksha Sanjog in workshop group. That we have decided also. And there is also Shiksha Darpan, that we have decided for telecast of a video in lessons and TV, all the TVs. This is especially in Doordarshan Odia, which is applicable to the in rural parts. All rural parts have no network. All rural parts have no cable network also. So, but the Doordarshan is most of area which is available in the Doordarshan. So we have decided about the Shiksha Darpan, and we are taking the education in the TV also. As like we have decided Radio Pathasala. This Radio Pathasala is also going on. The students, those are not coming to the schools, especially for the 10th and the 12th. But other schools we have not opened. So from 1 to 8 and the class 9, we are making it education through Shiksha Darpan, through Radio Pathasala, and through Madhuva, and also online classes also, everything is going on. And we have decided also what I felt, it is the situation throughout the world, throughout India also, about the dropout of the students, which is a more challenging for all of us, because all central government and the UNICEF, everybody is asking a single student should not be in the outside of a class. So we have identified and the mainstream of a dropout of children, all out of school children, dropout, migrant children. You know, we have 563 migrant hostels also. Those parents, those are migrated, in between work, they have gone to the outside state for a while. Their children, we have took them, and we have 576 hostels, migrant hostels. The children who are there, and the department take to all this care, and they are going to the school. When the school is closed, just hostel is naturally is closed, because the government is not allowing the hostel facilities, so everything is closed. We have tried only food facility to their house, to these students. We have arranged, the government have decided and to reach the food position, the Madhyana Bhojan position in their respective house, but they are not in a position to reach. So it is a major challenge for us, and we have decided that how the students will not, the children will not out of those schools. So we have tried a lot for this, and for this specifically, we have decided alternative intention program by the technical education students. Village schools, they have an intensive alternative intensive project. They are going to all the students. We have 5,000, 10,000 students throughout the state, and each students will take care of, will teach 10 students.
Very nice.
In each students, those are reading in CTVD, what you have told, they have to teach 10 students. So we have directed them. What I felt, it is the only state who Odisha has taken up this matter, and we have decided, and this thing is going on. It is where necessary, when they are in the class, there is a intensive intention program for practical purpose. So we have allotted them near about 1 lakh students. They have started the learning, and it is going on till 1 month. So by program already we have taken in so many schools, especially only when Madam Bakshi is there. It is a major thanks to her. Honorable CM has launched the More School program. You know that More School program is a successive program of the state government, and the alumni of the students, the schools, they are now when the lockdown period, they are in their own villages.
Right.
So all the alumni of these schools, and the lakhs of alumni, they are also engaged in so many thousands of villages of concerned students of the schools. They are also teaching in their own way, and they are looking after to this. 4,800 high schools under the program manner, and 11,051 high schools we have taken in the school transformation program.
Nice.
This time already we have taken up 1,151 high schools for school transformation program, and we have proposed for the 4,800 schools who will be taken up within 2 years. So our government has taken, Honorable CM has asked and has directed to take education as a major change. Where there was a problem in the school transformation, there is a smart classroom. We are already ahead of this, and there is a laboratory, interactive science center in secondary grades. Only it will be e-library and adequate drinking water and sports. Now there is already state government of Odisha, on the leadership of Honorable CM, Sujita Navin Pattanayak are directed to make the Odisha as a sports hub. So
Right.
already all the schools have been directed in that 5T program to develop all the school fields. So it is a major thing which we have already taken up. And
Thank you.
Also Odisha Adarsa Vidyalaya. It is a
Right.
child of Honorable CA. The rural students, the village level students, they will read English. They will read in the CBSE pattern. So already in each block, there will be a Adarsa Vidyalaya, and already 251 Adarsa Vidyalaya have been established. The another 100 Adarsa Vidyalaya has to be established by this year, and the Adarsa Vidyalaya will be Odisha Adarsa Vidyalaya will be a great achievement, and you will see this time from Palangir, Adarsa Vidyalaya, the 97.99, 97.33 numbers have been secured by the Adarsa Vidyalaya students. Above 95 PG number is 73, and above 90 is 500 something, 533 students are above 90% in Adarsa Vidyalaya. Those are reading there. So our government, honorable, on the leadership of Honorable CA, we have tried a lot in so many things, and then this time due to COVID, we have everybody is in back foot, but whatever possible, whatever
Yes.
source we have utilized, and we have tried a lot to reach our students. We have tried a lot to reach our students, and you will see in the near future, within 2 years, will our Odisha, on the leadership of Honorable CA, will be in a good position in education.
Thank you. Thank you. You have actually given a very detailed, statement on all the steps that have been taken by the government, the radio Patsala, the TV channel that you have also talked about, and also this e-Patsala, online self-learning, digital learning on WhatsApp. That's a very interesting idea. 65 lakh students being reached out in 56,000 schools, including private students also, school students also. It should be almost 1 crore students, perhaps close to. It's a fabulous task. My only one question, I know you are short of time, you have a meeting with the Honorable CM, but one question before you take leave is that, sir, how do you look at the training of the teachers, training the trainers? Because there is one major issue is that many a time the teachers are not equipped to create this sort of content for the learners at this point of time. Are you also taking recourse to any train the trainers or train the teachers scheme or policy? Would you like to throw some light?
Thank you. I want to say 2 points. One is that in the government schools, the guardians, our students, they are majority of the students, they are from lower middle class people.
Right.
Those have funds. Their students, they are reading in private schools. So
Right.
previously only our PTA, parent teachers meeting, it was only one in a year. But this time we have made it 4 times for the PTA. And personally, and we have decided to give him the report card, which is given in the private schools. This time already we have decided, due to Corona, we did not read, but strengthening community participation, EPTA, that we have decided all schools will organize parent-teachers meeting in both online and offline mode as per the local condition following COVID protocols, and encourage and ensure the participation of the parents and community in teaching, learning and assessment, which is the need of the hour, particularly in the pandemic situation. We have given forces to do this. What you asked about the capacity building of teachers, that also already we have decided and we have taken up. Recently, 4 days training program on digital learning platform and 21st century scheme was organized for teachers. 258 schools covered under STEAM program. In the STEAM program, there is only the girl students. They have been taught by we have an agreement for the Tata under the STEAM program. The various training of FLN, mental health, and the well-being leadership, and the content-based training are planned to be undertaken. So we have planned a very nicely we have decided it, and including through use of the library books. The instructions are being issued to provide at least one library book to each child a month to facilitate their reading habit while at the home. So already we have taken up teachers in the various position, and just before 1 month, I have inaugurated. We have linked. We have the co-partner of Indo-American foundations. We have co-partner of Tata foundations for the training of the teachers, and that we have already taken up.
Thank you. Thank you. We have limited time. I will not get into any more questions, but I really appreciate you taking time in spite of your meeting in the cabinet and coming over and giving a full statement, a detailed one about the steps taken by the government. I would only suggest there are fabulous educational institutions in Odisha, 3 of them represented here. KIIT University, Centurion University, and Regional College of Management. Maybe these institutes also can contribute through efforts with the government in train the trainers, because one of the biggest necessity now is interior villages and districts. There the teachers need digital learning, digital skills, so that they can take it to the next level. But you have taken several major steps, and I salute you for that. Particularly when you are taking midday meal to the homes of the students, that is a fabulous thing, for particularly for many districts which are comparatively poorer than the other districts, the tribal districts and the hill districts. There, if you can take food to the homes, it's a fabulous thing that you are doing. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Samir Ranjan Dash, for your presence and your detailed statement. We'll go ahead with the discussion. I'll request and I'm sure Dr. Pritam Pal would allow me that. Yes.
With the excuse, I am leaving here.
Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you. Dr. Pritam Pal, with your permission, sir, I would now request Professor Sasmita Samanta, Honorable Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Registrar of KIIT University, and I have heard her earlier. She has a philosophical approach in looking at higher education as well. In the current context, how has KIIT and KISS, I know these two are very different approach to education in these 2 universities, but how have they coped up with the situation, and how are you looking forward ahead? Over to Professor Sasmita Samanta.
Thank you, Professor Chowdhury, and with due respect to all my co-panelists, Professor Pattanayak, Professor Pal, and our Honorable Minister has just left. Just we are listening to Honorable Minister of the State on School and Mass Education. And from his deliberation, I hope that all the audience must have understood that any institution, any organization, or any state, they go through 3 approaches. One is whenever we start, we try for the routine. Second, we go for the compliances. Third phase is the excellence. And while we all are in education since last 2.5 decades, and many institutions are in this state, those who are existing since decades, while we are discussing about education 2 decades back, normally all the institutions were running like the routine, like they were existing, they're teaching the students, they were engaged in skill activities, they were training the students, they are trying to improve their employment capabilities, and the universities are running. But in last 2 decades, lots of improvements have happened. And today, if we see the status of each and every institution in the state, today we see that many universities are NAAC accredited. Many have got even the highest grade in National Assessment and Accreditation Council. And KIIT being the mentor for NAAC accreditation in the state, as we are working with around 26 institutions in the state itself for guiding the institution, for improving their quality of education and making them eligible for compliances of accreditation processes, we find that lots of aspirations are there among the institutions to come up to a level. And as I said, many institutions have got the NAAC accreditation. That means that compliance phase also the institutions of the state have already complied. And now we are at the phase of excellence. And not only we are trying for the excellence in education, research, but I find now lots of motivation is there among all the institutions to achieve the excellence in their community engagement activities. As I said, we are working with around 28 institutions in the state for accreditation compliances, while discussing with them, while interacting with them together, we find that, as we said, we have crossed the compliance phase. We find that the unhealthy competition among the institutions are not existing at present. They are, all of them are talking about collaborative teaching. As Professor Chowdhury was saying, there is dearth of teachers in the institutions and the universities everywhere, and the good teachers, to produce the good teachers, the good training is required. Maybe we all have understood that. And being in academics, I think all the academicians today, we all understand that we all are approaching towards individualistic learning and trying to fulfill the aspiration of individual student. And while we are trying to fulfill the aspiration of individual student, I don't think that any of the institutions in this globe is competent enough to match to the requirement of each one of the student, neither our infrastructure, nor our manpower, nor the skill setting available in any of the institutions. So I find those institutions are very keen to work collaboratively. When we talk about faculty exchange, when we talk about the exchange of knowledge, exchange of laboratories, then we find those institutions are coming forward that how they will be sharing the resources among themselves. That means that unhealthy competitions among them is not, slowly it is going out, and we all are going towards a collaborative approach in the state itself. And maybe that's the reason today the Odisha has slowly converted into a happening place. Maybe before 2 decades, when we are talking about Odisha, people didn't know that. And in the beginning, before 2 decades, the people started calling us as the education hub. Bhubaneswar is the education hub. Slowly, we heard that people are saying that this is the sports capital. And in last 5 years, we have made our identity internationally as the place for best disaster management. Fourth, now, after this COVID pandemic outbreak, when the whole world was struggling, I see that this place has been considered as one of the best places where the COVID has been managed very well. Even I have participated in many discussion forum to represent the state as the best managed COVID place in the country itself. So in that way, this is coming up as the state where many things are happening. Very recently, Honorable Minister was talking about the innovation and research policy of the state to promote the research in all the universities of the state. I find lots of grants are being given, funding, projects are being given to the faculties of the state colleges, state universities to promote the research and all. And with respect to that, when everything is growing fast and we all are witnessing that, at that point of time, we all find that KIT and KISS have the major role in transforming the whole education space of the state. Perhaps KIT is the first university in the state where we brought the foreign students to study and participate in the higher education. Maybe today this is the place where highest number of foreign students are available in the country. We are having around 1,500 foreign students from 37 countries in the universities, and around 1,000 students come here to study and to get certificate in different skills. It's related to healthcare, related to agriculture, related to engineering, related to social sciences, and many more students come for engaging themselves in different social science research activities, because we are having a very big tribal institution, Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences. And after outbreak of this COVID pandemic, while we are growing internationally as an international institution, and now KIT is recognized as one of the Institute of Eminence and being projected by Government of India as one of the world-class university of the country. At that point of time, after outbreak of COVID pandemic, we are among the few institutions in the country who started the online classes immediately, because in KIT, we have not only developed the physical infrastructure, but we are very, I can say that sound and technical infrastructure also. We are the first institution in the country to have the Wi-Fi campus. I remember while KIT became Wi-Fi campus in 1999, and a group of even group of chief ministers in the year 2000 came and visited KIT, that how a Wi-Fi campus happens. And we had brought the IBM mainframe computer and put there. And That was the first Wi-Fi campus in the country. Slowly, since 2001, we provided laptops and PCs to each one of the students, faculty, and staff in the campus. So that was the first reason. After outbreak of this COVID pandemic, we started the online classes. But in last 1.5 years, lots of innovations have happened in the technological space also. We have designed a very good examination system in the university itself by merging 3 technology, by using one of the platform like Zoom, Google Meet, or Microsoft Meet, 3, any one of 3. Then second is Moodle, and third one is AI proctoring database. Then our examination system conducted in the university is one of the best, and till now we have conducted around 3 lakhs tests by using this platform itself. And all the academic sessions have been completed in time. Now we have started again from 5th of July next academic session, and we are up to the time itself. And in KIT University, we have developed a very engagement-based or activity-based learning system, where not only we are engaged in providing different skills to the rural students, we are not only engaged in providing the skills of level 9 and level 10 to the BTech graduates, but with that, for our existing students, we have developed many center of excellences, like many center of excellences in the field of software technology, in the field of healthcare, in neuroscience, in biosciences, in IT, and also in social sciences and sustainable development, in leadership and fintech. Many center of excellences have been developed. And during this COVID pandemic, those students who are facing a little bit of difficulty in using those resources, we have also developed the software. As such, our students are having access not only to the e-resources of the library, not only to the e-repository of the university, but also through different simulation software, they're able to access to those center of excellences. And they are able to do the projects, the capstone project, with the help of faculty and the industry people together. And this time, because of that, our more than 1,400 students, those who are placed in all the top level companies with salary of more than 12 lakhs package, many students have got, many engineering and management students have got it. It's because of their involvement. They are very, I can say that, their practical involvement through different capstone projects and different live projects. Of course, during this COVID pandemic, lots of difficulties have arisen. The students are out of the campus. They are not able to engage themselves physically, but many more avenues have been explored by the institutions and the students themselves. And we find that after this COVID pandemic, we'll be going back. We are also planning to bring the students to the campus in 1 month if the third phase is not coming. But then also we find that, of course, the 20 to 30% of the activities will be done online. Though we are doing many online activities, like we are using always Moodle for activity-based learning, for conducting quizzes, for using the Moodle dashboard for interaction between the students and faculties. With that, many more activities will be added, and students will be going through a blended system of education in the campus itself. And as KIT has developed as a community-based university, I was saying that we have adopted many colleges. We have also adopted many villages and the schools. We are engaged in different community-based development activities, developing the smart villages, developing the smart panchayats. With that, after this, with this COVID pandemic, we are able to contact our KIS students, educate them through our own TV channel like Kalinga TV. We are teaching the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th students. We are teaching the college students, university students, and we are also, as we are committed for the livelihood of the KIS students, maybe in every fortnight we are supplying them with all the food materials at their home itself. So many more hand-holding activities are going on. But after this COVID pandemic, as KIT is known for its technology and providing the best solution and different edutech and different labs for developing different virtual labs, I think KIT is now prepared with many more technologies in place for the students, for the public, and engineering, technology, and healthcare services. So that is our plan after this COVID pandemic. And as we are also contributing a lot by establishing the COVID hospitals, providing the services to the people in healthcare, also many technologies will be included as such in telemedicine and other areas. We are planning to do better.
Thank you, madam, very much. In fact, the way you speak, you can be the academic ambassador of Odisha. You can put the academic, vision of Odisha across the country. I really appreciate the philosophy of collaboration as against competition, because collaboration is the way to go. Pandemic has showed it even more. 21st century is the era of collaboration. They are not just about digitization, but at every level collaboration. Thank you for many examples that you brought in. We will come back to you. Please be around for the second round, which will be short round. Dr. Pal, thank you for your patience for the entire hour. But we had really a lot of good inputs from the minister and the two ladies, academicians who have put forth several aspects. Sir, you are leading an institute which has been there for a long time and has created a lot of talent, particularly in managerial field. How have you faced? We have talked a lot about technology. We have talked a lot about school education today. But what we haven't talked about is business education, the aspect of business education and also technical education in general. How have you handled the crisis? How are you looking forward to the next academic year? What sort of best practices have evolved over time? What are the lessons that you would like to share? Over to Dr. Pritam Pal, the Director of Regional College of Management, Odisha.
Thank you so much. And it's an honor to thank you for having me here. And we have Professor Sasmita, our Honorable Minister was just there, and Professor Pattanayak. So RCM has been, we are a four-decade-old enterprise, and we have been here. So we have been here for the last 4 decades, and we have seen education from the moment it has started in this state. So we are one of the first management colleges of Odisha, and similar to that, we have been into management and MCA education right across the last 40 years. Having said that, Odisha is a great place. It's got a huge cultural background. We have been in industry, and we have been progressive and innovative for a very, very long time. But business education, as always, I'm sure that Sasmita would agree that in kids, it used to have IBAT, was also one of the second or third first management colleges in the state. Now, in management, the complete system has been very progressive. We have been changing over time. So it's just not COVID that has allowed us to change, and to look into different technologies. But by the time COVID came into play, we were already there in the system. We were already, we already had our own mobile app almost 2 years prior to, almost in 2019. We had our own, LMS system, which is homegrown. We had our own, web portal where e-library and everything was maintained. The only thing which changed and which was added to the system was virtual classes. So as of today, we have been in totality, done more than about 9,000 plus classes in the system. We have already, worked on giving different application-oriented courses in business. Now, there's always a first. So, whoever is an old establishment, KITS is a great brand, Centurion is a great brand, and this out of the 30 universities, these are the top universities that can Odisha has, and they've got fantastic fame, not only nationally, but internationally. RCM has been on the grounds of typically, progressive management education. So we have always understood, what the industry has. For example, we have more than 2,461 plus industries in Odisha itself who provide more than 5.34 lakhs. That's like approximately about $75 billion in GSP revenue to the state. So it always has been progressive. The industry is huge, and the requirement of the industry changes every minute. Every minute.
Perhaps you have lost him. We'll wait for him to come back. Okay. The team might, back-end team might please contact him, please. Again, we'd wait for him. In the meantime, I was talking to Professor Pattanayak and asking her that engaging the students, Professor Supriya Pattanayak, and engaging the students creatively or rather productively in digital means is becoming challenge, and taking examinations is also becoming challenge. Sanctity of exams, to maintain that, summative exam and formative exam, both levels. So if you could throw some light on productive engagement and authenticity of exams. Over to you, Professor Pattanayak.
Yes. Thank you
Yes.
once again.
Yeah.
See, I think both these questions are difficult ones, whether COVID times or not.
Right.
So let me start with before COVID times, because I think engagement of students is a very important aspect. And as I told you right from the outset, that we are a skills university. We have introduced in whatever course we do, we have a sense of introducing a 30% of the course which is practice oriented, no matter what course, which is practice or project. So we kind of build it into our program itself. So that is one, clearly one of the ways that we see, because if we have recognized that our students nowadays, yes, their aspirations are very high, but their ability to kind of uh, attend to things is kind of slowly diminishing. So we have realized that, and therefore we kind of actually focus on, as I said, skills in every kind of programs. So we have, whether it is agriculture, whether it is allied health, whether it is management, whether it is engineering, whether it is diploma or ITI, whatever it is, at every level we have incorporated this. So I think that is one of the first things. The other thing is moving from a classroom based, outcome oriented education to more of a product based kind of education. So what is it that whatever you're doing, if you're doing a pharmacy course, what kind of a product that you can come up with? It's not just about a project, but it is a product that you come out with, which can then be, patented or whatever, or, it can actually be commercialized eventually. So these are are some of the things that we have absolutely mainstreamed in every one of our courses. And we are seeing that it is leading to that entrepreneurial bend of mind of our students. They are beginning to think that, yes, we can do things and we can actually come out with products. So I think that's a very important aspect, because we know that when you talk about education, it's either higher studies or, a job, or it's an enterprise. And jobs, as we know, are limited, and so we are looking at what is it that the students can do. So our focus is actually engaging students with that end in mind, and therefore
Great.
we have been able to incorporate that in all our programs. We are also
Great.
doing that, for example, in the virtual area,
Mod.
or rather I would say that we have a partnership, a lot of industry partnerships, whereby we actually help our students with some of the latest softwares, some of the latest technologies, to then into, again, building a product, commercialization. For example, we have a partnership with Dassault Systems. So with Dassault Systems, we are actually having people, students, who are looking at developing an e-vehicle.
Wow, very
That
good.
is the extent of work that students are doing. So that our focus is pretty much that. And so that is really one of the things. The other thing that we do, and which Professor Samanta spoke about, is this community engagement. And I think it's not just a student engagement, but how is it that we get the student to be engaged with the community? And I think that is a very important aspect. We have seen that we have a school of allied health, and we have students actually work with the nearby communities. We have actually got a community diagnostic center, which has been recognized under the Clinical Establishment Act, where we actually get students to then go out to the communities and do various tests and things like that. So, so they actually get that community engagement. We also have we have tried out, experimented a lot of things. Like, for example, some of our engineering students and diploma students, we say you just go across to the nearby communities and say they have some electrical appliances which are not working. So you actually get them to negotiate with them, fix it, identify what a cost is, so they learn to have that engagement, which is slowly actually, we are finding that students are not able to actually even have that, even have a conversation. So this actually enables all that. So I think that
Very
is
good.
the engagement which is happening. And
Yes.
I think in the online platform also, we are trying to see where is it that we can enable this engagement happening. So here it is mostly the teacher student, but what we are trying more and more is peer engagement. So how is it that they work in groups? How is it that they work, and that I think is a very important aspect, because that is the kind of thing that you can do in an online environment.
Right.
So what is it that you can do in an online environment is what we are exploring. All of us are exploring that. So that is one of the key things
Thank
that I
you.
want to talk
Thank
about.
you. This
And
point,
so these are the kinds of things we're doing. About the examination, would you like to hear about that?
yeah, briefly, madam. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just about the examination, yes, we have an online examination. We have developed our own system. We have been having it for a long time. And so we actually were doing some things even prior. Now it has only meant that we have had to scale up. So it is a proctored exam that we have. In fact, when we scaled up also, we had to go with an external provider. But now we have completely gone in-house, and we have our own system whereby we do all the examinations ourselves. And we are able to actually identify where malpractice is happening, if any. All those kinds of things we are
Correct.
able to identify through very advanced AI and that kind of things. We all know
Right.
that. So using that kind of technology, we're able to do it. So
I
that's the kind of
I
way we maintain the
I
authenticity of exams.
I really appreciate the practice or project approach, because internalization of knowledge is more important than learning the information. So what you are doing is internalizing the knowledge
Absolutely.
through practice and project. I really appreciate. Moving on to Professor Samanta till Dr. Pal joins. Professor Samanta, I really appreciate this collaboration approach, collaborative approach that you have brought in. So I know you have to leave by around next 7-10 minutes, but this question you could talk about, that this collaboration as a philosophy. I'm not talking only in the context of post-pandemic. Yes, the situation has become more relevant now, but how can you take this concept of collaborative learning to the next level? What sort of things can be done? I remember that you have noted that 26 institutes you are helping them in NAC, but along with that, any other ways that you can suggest that collaborative learning among students, among institutions, within the state, beyond the state, can be taken forward? Over to you, Professor Samanta.
Yeah. As I talked about the collaborative learning among the institution, I can say that we have started that initiative in campus since last 8 to 10 years. We have signed MOU with around 177 universities across the globe. And KIT is now member of all the international institutions. As such, that will give the confidence to the faculties and the students of the campus that they can collaborate with the institutions, not only in the state, not only in the country, but globally. That confidence building we had done initially, but now slowly in last 5 to 6 years, we have clearly demarcated the collaboration in 3 levels. One is collaboration in the regional level, collaboration in national level, and collaboration in international level. And accordingly, we have divided our courses of studies and the focus area in different levels itself. As I said, we have adopted the schools and colleges. And while adopting the schools and colleges and collaborating our activities in association with the community-based organization, there our focus is to identify the local issues, identify the local strength, identifying the strengths of the students and faculties in the local level, identifying their interest areas of research, innovations, then providing them the facilities, whatever is possible on our part. all the labs are open on Saturdays and Sundays. For all those faculties and students, they come and they do their own activities, their laboratory activities, their research activities, innovation activities. Our incubation center events open on that day. As the incubators can guide the youngsters how to convert their ideas into the technology. That sort of activities we are engaged in. And we have engaged with different national level of institutions, many national level of institutions with whom we are doing the collaborative research. Our students are doing internship in all the premier institutions of the countries. And third level is the international level, where our focus, with whom we have signed the MOUs. Our research focus of different departments are trying to get collaborated with the research focus of different universities. And with the collaboration of the students, KIT sends around 300 to 500 students every year abroad for one semester abroad program. We send the students to different countries, even different premier institutions to have 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks program or the internship in different institutions and also in the industries. So that sort of collaborative activities are going on. And recently the trend is that all the top ranked universities of the globe now they are collaborating with the good institutions across the globe, even for the teaching learning processes. Like my students in KIT, for certain courses, we are tying up with the universities like Harvard, Stanford, Cambridge, and Oxford. Like that, they are coming forward. They are trying to engage the students of all the good institutions of this country or institutions across the globe, wherever the interest of our students lies, and we don't have the sufficient expertise with us, or we want to give different experience and expertise and the exposure to our students in some areas. It can be like critical thinking, it can be business analytics sometimes, or it can be sometimes the advanced AI, the manufacturing AI, whatever this country is exploring and trying to excel in that area. In those areas, we are trying to sign MOUs with different international universities and collaborate with them. And those courses are being taught by the faculties of those institutions. And because the online and hybrid learning is becoming popularized slowly in all the campuses of this country, the faculties of those universities are teaching few subjects to the engineering students, to management students, and also sometimes law and healthcare students. So that's in that way the collaborative activities are going on. And we have also signed MOU with different national labs where our students and faculties are using that for different research purposes. So sharing of the resources, sharing of the knowledge, the strength is going on across the globe, and we all are trying to get participated in that.
Great.
I had one of the faculty of Professor Pattanayak. He was in one of the panel. In the way they are talking about engaging in the skill-based learning platform for all the engineering students. That was very interesting, and the labs he had shown in his presentation, that was very interesting to me. So in that way, everybody is trying to explore and excel.
Great, thank you. If I can focus on a few words, the key words that have come out of this discussion of both of you now. One is collaborative learning, second is engagement-based learning, third is community engagement, fourth is practice or project-oriented education, and lastly, blended learning. These 5 points are the highlights. Very interesting. These were not the terms 5 years ago that most academicians will be using. So these are the really signs of the change of time. Both of you really enunciated in very well manner. I will come back to Dr. Pritam Pal. You have been speaking very well about homegrown LMS being in place from 2019 onwards, if I'm not wrong. And you also started an education with app, an app developed locally that you utilized, which is fabulous. So if you could continue the discussion on how did you come to the current situation and what are your thoughts on that? If you could continue the remaining part.
Yeah, so getting off from where I left off. So we have not only, the application was always to ensure that there was a lot of community interaction. So management graduates have less classroom requirements. So earlier you used to have typical subjects, typical classroom requirements which are to be done. But today it is more about collaboration. It's about communication. It's about skills. It is about application of education. So it is not textbook education anymore. So management studies in the last 10 years is just not because of COVID. in the last 10 years has changed massively. It has changed as fast.
Yeah, slight connectivity challenges there. I think Dr. Pal, it's unfortunate that second time he started and again the challenge came. We should be now wrapping up. Unfortunately, we are not getting Dr. Paul in the connection. So maybe some other day we'll listen to the aspects that he would like to share. I really appreciate the way he was explaining that how the education has evolved already through app and LMS even before COVID struck. And then he was talking about the changes brought forth in the last half a decade. Since we have lost him, so we'll not, and it's already more than 5 p.m. So we'll lead to wrapping up the session. Last word to you, Professor Pattanayak. How do you look at the economic situation of Odisha to provide jobs to the students? Because that question is coming on our social media very much. How is the job scenario shaping up? How are the students coping up with the job requirements? If you could throw last word on that, and then we'll wrap up.
Thank you so much. No, I think it's a very relevant point, and I think it's very apt that you should ask this, because I think the job situation, as you write in your opening remarks, have pointed out that the economy itself is shrinking, has shrunk because of COVID. So I think that it is panning out across the globe everywhere. And I think, especially in Odisha, I think every place, every location has its own very specific issues. So if you see Odisha, and not very unlike West Bengal, that people don't actually want to go out a lot.
Right,
Right.
Even in Bengal.
Whereas from the south, it's immediately they start thinking they want to go anywhere. But Bengal and Odisha, they would rather stay in the same place. So and they're very easily like I say that people are very contented, but like
complacent,
very easily pleased. So I think while not complacent, not complacent. I won't call it complacent. I think they're very contented.
Okay.
So that aspiration level, that aspiration which is there in the south and which is there in the west, that real strong aspiration to move up in life, right. That kind of thing is a bit, people think that, oh, I'm happy with this. So of course, then you find that a lot of the job prospects and all that they're looking for is also local. And I think there I must say that some of the states and the national government's initiative for startups has been extremely useful at this point in time, because what I've seen is that there has been a huge rise in startups in Odisha, and I think that must be all over India, but also more so in Odisha, because also of this kind of support that they're getting from the government. And I think that is what is very important. But having said that, I think that there is also a move now. More and more young people are actually wanting to go out. So the scenario is also where that there are people who are looking out for jobs, and then the placement becomes a very important aspect for any institution. So we are certainly looking at, and as in fact, as Professor Samanta said, we also have like straight from school right up to the university PhD levels. So we also, which means we also have a very strong skilling program for school dropouts. So which means that there are jobs that we are seeking at different levels. And we have been very, very successful in securing jobs. I think there will always be issues in this area, and we only try to get better each time. But we also know that for some professional streams, the job prospects are better. So I think a lot of it matters as to how you counsel students to enter into programs. And I think that is a very important aspect. Sometimes we leave that out. We just take into aspect what is the student wanting to do. But sometimes that's not the right stream for them. So we
Right.
need to actually counsel them into the more areas where there are greater job prospects. So we are doing much more of that. For example, we have started last few years back, we started a forensic science program.
Right.
And, cyber security and forensic science is so big. And so we are actually now trying to counsel a lot of students who would otherwise take science, saying, why don't you get into these programs? Because these are wonderful job prospects.
Right.
So they are actually beginning to listen to those kind of things. And I think as long as that happens, that you match a student to a particular stream, then there is a better chance of them getting placed in higher paying jobs and that kind of thing.
Right. Surely there should not be
So that's what we are aiming for.
there should not be a round nail in a square peg. That's undoubtedly a true factor. The right counseling has to happen. The
Exactly.
right aptitude has to be there. Thank you for that very
Exactly.
important point. I think we had a very productive discussion amongst the four of you, including the minister. A very productive discussion. We are moving to an era where teachers are becoming mentors, students are becoming learners, self-learning, engaged learning, and learning to be doing a project or a practice, learning to be productive. These are key points that are coming up. And this learning in the new normal is more collaborative, more digital, more techno-savvy, and more future-oriented. So these are aspects that have come up. Thank you very much for your presence, ma'am, today. And with this, we'll bring this session to an end. There are a few hundreds, I do not have the final figure, more than 1,000 youngsters who are listening to it on the social media. The entire video will be shared with you as how many views and everything has happened. And also the summary of the whole session will be printed, it will be carried in our ABP group and abpeducation.com. And all the links will be shared with all the speakers. Thank you very much for your time. With this, we bring this session to an end.